Yes, says a few people.
Oh, that's
Excellent.
good.
Wonderful. So they have some study resources there. And as you guys, I think I printed something there. So
Yeah, that
Chloe,
sounds right.
as you guys are making your way around, I think it's a great place to be. There's study stuff there, there's resources there, and you guys will be writing a paper. And so you may, if you get in a bad way, be calling Elizabeth Hinton here. So she is actually assigned to the School of Nursing. She is our person, and many of us, she's been super helpful. I will say for me personally, y'all know I finished my doctorate degree about 5 minutes ago, is what I've told them. Um, and part of what I had to do, I had to write this big, long, crazy thing. And some of it, I don't even quite still understand what I've done, but I did it. And she was super duper helpful to me because there was some of the special databases that I don't know that I ever could have figured out how to work them because I was doing things like I was putting in quotation marks like that were curled quotation marks. And she's like, oh no, they have to be a straight quotation mark. So she knows more things than I ever dreamed could exist and how to work these databases and how to make your search strings. So she's going to give y'all a presentation about good sources and what kind of library resources y'all have available to you because the world is at your fingertips and y'all just don't even know it. So I will turn it over to you. Thank you so much for coming. If you were online, it looks like everybody is muted. But if you are coming in online and you are not muted, just double check that you are. And you do not have to turn your cameras on unless you just feel so moved. So thank you so much.
All right. Well, hi. It's nice to meet y'all. I'm Elizabeth Hinton, and I've been working with the School of Nursing since maybe I think 2015. So it's been a little while now. And I work with all of the different programs. So I do orientations and work with students individually. And so I think, if you end up going all the way through, I may see you for a long time. So, and that would be really great. And I see a question, oh yeah, about the quotation marks. I was going to say, and I was thinking about this before, if I do see any questions, I will try to answer, but if I don't, go ahead and put it in the chat, and then I will definitely go through later. And if there are any in there, I can, what is this? Okay. Someone's requesting to annotate the shared content. Do you know what that is, Dr. Hargett?
So that is like they can highlight and mark up your point. I don't usually turn that on. They probably don't realize that they clicked that button. That was probably it.
Okay. And I told Dr. Hargett I can share this with you all later. So if she wants to, put it into Canvas. So if you have any questions and you want to look back later, you can definitely do that. Right. So I hit down and it's not doing it. Y'all can see, is it the PowerPoint screen or the presenting mode?
The PowerPoint screen, we cannot see it in presenting mode.
Okay, let's see. I think I know why. Let me see.
Mine did this when I got a second monitor and it could never figure out what it wanted my first and second one to do recently.
And that's the problem. I have two. So let me see. Let me start this over again.
Okay. When you share, you have to tell which monitor you want it to share. So share one or share two. So that's what you're having to do. It's sharing from your primary monitor, which is showing the your edit screen.
Okay, so now you see the intranet?
Yes, that's what.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'll do it that way and then I'll move it over there. I think I had just shared my PowerPoint and that's why it wasn't working. All right, thank you very much. All right, now you all see the presentation? Perfect. Like Dr. Hargett said, I'm going to be showing you all the library's website. I know a few of y'all have already come to the library, but just the website, because that's going to be probably a lot of what you're using. And then how to develop a search strategy. So just a few tips for you when you start working on your paper and how to evaluate the sources that you find. This is the library website address. It's umc.edu/library. So super easy to remember, but you can also get to it through the UMC homepage or the intranet. So if you don't want to type in the web address, there are couple of different ways to get there through the website. So I'm going to go over where to find journals and databases, our subject guides, any distance access. So I know that a lot of y'all are at home right now. So how to access from home if you haven't tried that yet. And ILL and offsite copy requests. So since I'm still, let's see. All right, now you can see my intranet page. Okay, perfect. Here is the library icon. So it's under education. You can click it and we'll go straight to the library. We have several different tabs here. So resources, if you click on that, it's going to show you all the journals by subject if you want to just look up nursing. We have ebooks and databases. And right here we have a list of our popular databases. So these are the ones that get the most hits. We've tried to make it kind of equal between all the different schools, but I think, any of these would probably be appropriate depending on your topic. And if you click here, it's going to take you to all of our databases. I'm going to show this to you first. So we have 101 databases, and I think every time I go, the number is a little bit higher. What we have through here, so we have it alphabetically, but after you find your topic, looking through here is going to help you decide if you're not finding something, looking in PubMed or CINAHL, which I'm going to show you today, you can look through here and look at the other databases. So it's going to show you the content that's in it to give you a better idea of whether or not it would apply to your topic. Also under resources, and of course there's a link here as well, you can click on subject guides. And we have 31 guides for a lot of different things. We have one on citation format. We don't really provide support for that, but we do have this subject guide that gives a little more information. There is, let me see, just some basic things through here, but then I also have one for the School of Nursing. And I just want to show everybody that it's here. So if you do want to go back and look, it's here. It's an easy way to email me. So if you don't want to look at my email address, it's right here. We have some general information about the library. I'm going to tell you all of these things today, but if you just want to go back and look, you can do that. Here are some of the databases that I recommend, a list of those. This is quick access to some of the more popular nursing e-journals, and you can just click on this and it will take you straight to the latest issue of that specific journal. Here's some ebooks and then of course some print books. This is mainly information about how to read a citation. So we have our citation guide, but then this is how to read a citation, which is going to come in handy if you're especially requesting something, and then you'll know, this is the author, this is the publication date, volume, issue, etc. And also right here, I have some database tutorials. I'm going to show you 3 of these today. So I'm going to show you CINAHL, PubMed, and Nursing Reference Center. But if you have questions later or you want to look back on it, I always want to show everybody where the tutorials are, because I like to kind of watch something and then do it and then kind of have it pulled up and do it side by side. So if you have any questions and want to go through that, we do have those tutorials. And I'm just pointing this out not to say don't contact me, because absolutely please contact me if you have questions about these. But I know sometimes people are more comfortable trying to figure it out on their own. So if you're one of those people and you want to try the tutorials, they're here. Back on the page under services, we have several different forms that I want to point out to you. One is the interlibrary loan request. If there's something that you find when you're searching that you absolutely 100% have to include in your paper, but we don't have it, we can still get it for you. Like 9 times out of 10, we're going to be able to get it for you. So you'll click on this form and just put in your information. For method of payment, you will say 0 because it's free. So don't worry about putting, the amount that you're willing to pay, and you don't need to put in your credit card number. Don't do any of that. And then you'll say whether or not it's a book chapter or a journal article, and then just add all of that information after you say which one it is. Excuse me. And this is what I was saying about volume and issue and all of that. When you're requesting something like this, you will have to have that information. But, if you can't figure it out and you have a question, please let me know. In addition, we have this offsite request form. I'm not sure that this is something that y'all would need, but if you ever, okay, no, Dr. Hargett saying no, so let's just forget about it. Okay, that's gonna be one less thing for y'all to learn. Okay, and I think that, oh, sorry, were you gonna say something? Oh no, okay. So this is all I want to show you right here just for the website. I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the databases, just kind of tell you what's in them, and then we're going to hop right back here and I'm going to show you a little bit of how to use them. All right, this is the first database that I think is going to be really important for you all. It's CINAHL, and this is the Nursing and Allied Health database. What I really like about CINAHL, and I'm going to show you all how to do this, is not only does it cover a lot of nursing and allied health literature, but also you can limit it to peer-reviewed only. That's not something you can do in PubMed, and when you're looking for peer-reviewed articles, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell because there's so many different things out there, and we'll talk more about that later. But CINAHL, you can limit it to peer-reviewed, and that's going to just make it a lot easier. PubMed is the database that probably anybody in healthcare or biomedical sciences is going to use. It's the National Library of Medicine's database. A lot of what's in CINAHL is also going to be PubMed, but not everything. And that is the reason why you want to use more than one database, because things will overlap, but not everything is completely comprehensive. A good point of care tool is Nursing Reference Center. And now we have Nursing Reference Center Plus, which we did not have before, but we've upgraded a little bit. And so that's going to have any information for education, skills development guidelines. There's a lot more in here. You can still look up articles, but there's more than that. And this is if you are looking for point of care, journal articles, ebooks, everything all in one. If you want to do just one search, you can look in Clinical Key. That's going to pull up any journal articles. A lot of them are going to be in PubMed, but you can pull up journal articles and books and everything all at the same time. So if you're looking for a book chapter and an article, you can just kind of look in Clinical Key and see what comes up there. All right, back at the library webpage, let's start with CINAHL. And I'm going to just kind of go over it a little bit. I'm not going to get too involved, but I do want to show you a little bit of how to use it. You can see when you come up to CINAHL, it's going to automatically take you to the advanced search. It has the boxes all separated out for you, which is going to be really helpful. And down here, this is what I mentioned, the peer-reviewed box. If you click this at the beginning of your search, everything that comes back is going to be designated as peer-reviewed. So you don't have to worry about whether or not it is when you're searching in CINAHL. And I'm going to go ahead and click that here. There are a lot of other search options down here, like if you want to change the date, but you can also do these after you've searched, so you don't have to worry about doing it at the beginning. So if we're thinking of a topic like heart disease, Dr. Hargett was talking about quotations, and you don't have to worry about the quotation problem was kind of, I think with Dr. Hargett's case, it was copying from Word into a database, and some of the databases are a little weird, and it was, a different font, and so it wouldn't take it, and I really can't explain it, but you don't have to worry if you're just typing into the database that it's not going to be the right one, so don't panic about that. But so I'm going to do quotations around here. So it's going to give you suggestions too. I mean, that's up to you whether or not you want to use them. It's a lot like Google's Do You Mean? But heart disease here, Usually when I'm first starting out searching, I just leave all of this optional. So it's really going to search everything. It's going to look for heart disease anywhere. And then, I don't know, let's just put nursing. It's not really a question, but let's just go with it. So we're going to look up nursing and heart disease. So putting both of those together, it's going to pull articles with those things. And I'm going to talk a little more about searching later, so don't feel like this is it and you need to know it all right now. Okay, so looking at that search, and this was just a really basic search, what you're going to be writing on, I know is going to be a lot more narrow than this. So don't panic that you're seeing 2,000 results here, because that's probably not going to be what you get. However, if you do get something that has, more than you really want to go through title and abstract for, there are a lot of things over here. First of all, you want to change the date. So you've got the last 5 years, and we're going to change this to 2016. And just type it in there and hit tab. It's supposed to work, and for some reason it's not. And I wonder if it's because I'm sharing. There we go. All right, so we started out with 2,300. Now, just changing the date, we have 532. And then we go down here, and further, if you want to limit to English, which probably you do, go ahead and limit it to English. That's going to take out quite a few. And if you're looking at a certain patient population, so you're either looking at age or gender, you can also limit by those as well. In this case, it doesn't really make sense with what I was searching for, but that would also take it down quite a bit. As you're looking through the citations, if you want to use any of these, you can look, and you see a lot of them already have the PDF full text. And in that case, what you will do is just click on that PDF, and it's going to take us to the PDF. And ta-da, there you have it, and you can just download it. Some of them, though, the first two had PDF full text. This one doesn't. If it was something that you wanted the full text of, you would just click this full text through OCLC WorldCat, and that's going to take you through to our server. And right here, this one is in print that we have, so click this View Full Text. Well, I think it's like no matter how much you think about what you're going to show, it's always something like this. So we got an error, but we'll try again. Let's get another one that's better. Let's see. Let's try this one. All right, let's go again. Full text. Oh my goodness. Well. Okay, well, this is still a good example too. We don't have this in full text. So in that case, you would check the holdings in the library catalog. And this is searching the catalog. So actually, it does say we have it electronically. So it would be 2006 forward. Let's click access the journal, and hopefully this will work. All right. You're back in EBSCO, but that's okay. You'll look back at what this was. So it was 2021. And you're going to click on 2021 and look for the issue. So it's volume 16, issue 7. You can see right there. And that will give you the full text. Again, if it's something we don't have, though, we can still get it for you, and you can still access it. So if you do run into problems like this, even if it's something we're supposed to have and you're getting those random error messages, please, first of all, let me know, because we want to make sure that we can get it fixed. But then second of all, we can still get it for you. So don't worry if you get weird error messages. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close out CINAHL, go on to PubMed. However, if you think of questions, or we can, look at the end and go back and I can show you anything you have questions about. And as I was doing this, I did realize I didn't tell you how to access when you're off campus. So since you all are off campus, you're going to want to go through the library webpage exactly like I'm doing here. And you're going to be able to go to the webpage, no problem. But when you click on anything other than PubMed, really, so if you click on any of our journals or databases that we subscribe to, it's going to prompt you to log in. You'll use your UMC username, not the full email address, just the username and password. And then that will keep you, that should stay authenticated throughout the session, and you'll be able to get anything in full text. All right, I want to show you all PubMed as well. This one does not come up on the advanced screen. It kind of comes up in one line, just kind of like a Google search. And it really, I think it's a lot easier if you start at advanced. It already has the lines for you. You don't have to worry about, keeping everything separate. So if we click on advanced, it's still going to be searching all fields. You don't have to worry about changing this unless you're getting a ton of results. We'll try heart disease again. You can, you'll click add. That's the easiest way to do it, and it goes down there. And then let's do nursing again. And what you can see it's done down here for you is it's created your search without you having to put all of this in between. All right, you can see this is about double the amount that we had in CINAHL. And that's what I was saying about PubMed having, it's a little more robust. However, there's going to be some things in CINAHL that would not be in PubMed. So you wouldn't want to just limit yourself to PubMed. Right here, you can change the date. So we're going to go over to 2016. Oh, no, that's 2006. Couldn't see because it was. All right, there we go. All right, about 1600. That's still a lot to go through. So you would want to go down here, and you can also limit here by publication date, but you could limit to English. Okay, that's 1600. But there are also more down here, so additional filters, kind of like I was showing you in CINAHL. So if you want to limit by a certain sex, or you want to limit by an age group, you can do that as well. Also species, which we didn't see in CINAHL. If you just want to look at human studies, you can click human. There are a lot of veterinary studies. There are also a lot of studies that are, laboratory studies on animals. So if you want to take all of that out and just look at humans, which I think you do, you're just going to want to click humans. All right. Still a lot to go through. However, I think you are going to have a lot more of a narrow search, and so it's not going to be 1100. So don't worry about that at all. When you want to find the full text in PubMed, it's slightly different. It's not always going to say PDF full text. You see, we're clicking on this first one. You have several options. It's always easier if you see something that says read full text, so either through the PMC link or right here through the publisher, to just click on that and it will take you straight to it. So it takes us right there and you can download the PDF and you're good to go. If it is something that we don't have, or if it's something that you're not seeing either one of these links right here, you do want to click the library link. And it will either take you straight to the full text that we have, or it's going to take you back to that library screen where you're able to see if we have it in print or not. All right, the next one to show you is Nursing Reference Center. And we don't have that one as a popular database, so you'll have to go under Browse All Databases and then go to the ends. Okay, and you can see they have featured videos, which is really great. So, I mean, they're talking about how to, properly wash your hands. Yes, which is great. There's a lot of COVID information in the spotlight, of course, but that changes periodically depending on when new content's added. There is a mobile app, and there are mobile apps for several of these actually, and we do have a page listing how you can download these. So if this is something that you end up using, especially when you're in practice and you want to have it on your phone, you can download the app for it. Up here, you can see all areas. So if you're just going to perform a search just across everything, you can click on that and it's going to be able to narrow later on. But if you're just specifically looking at a disease, you can look under here. So we have care plans, heart diseases. Those are the most common things that are being looked up. So that'll change depending. So there are skills. So like we saw earlier, there's the hand hygiene, competency checklists, which I think is really good to have. Information on drugs. So if you are looking up drug information, so Davis's drug guide is in here, and then drug information essentials. Here are all management topics, so nursing leadership and management. They also have continuing education in here, so they do have some CE courses. And if you click more, so there's, okay, also patient education. So if you need any patient education handouts, these are really helpful as well. But if we're looking, so if you're clicking on any of those, it's going to search just right within that specific area. But if we're looking in all areas and we just do heart disease, and it's working, okay. This is a lot, so you get 2,000, but look at what you're getting. So these are quick lessons, so pulmonary hypertension and heart disease, quick lessons. You keep going down. Number 5 is a skill set. There's care sheets, images. So there is a lot in here. It's not just, looking for some articles. And you can limit over here. If you did just kind of a general search and then you decide, I just want to see what books are available, or I just want to look for, care sheets or something like that, you can click over here. They even have, legal issues and research instruments. There's a ton of stuff in Nursing Reference Center. You can also do by, nursing specialty and just more limits over here. So age and gender again. So limiting to middle-aged heart disease, that's only 660. But yeah, I just really like Nursing Reference Center. So it's very different from a lot of the things we have, and I always want to make sure y'all are aware of it, especially before you go out to the world and start working with patients. And the last one I mentioned is, let's see, Clinical Key. Right here, we just have one line again. That's pretty much the best way to start. So I'm just going to look at heart disease. And it's going to prompt you with some things again too, which sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not, just really depends. But okay, so the difference, Nursing Reference Center, we got 2,300. This is 24,000, which is kind of scary. You can limit if you just want full text. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that because that's going to be anything that you could get free full text through Clinical Key. And we're going to have a ton more than that. So don't feel like you're limited just by that. But you can also look at books over here. They also have guidelines and images and videos. It is similar to Nursing Reference Center in a lot of ways. But Clinical Key covers more than just nursing. And I think that's why there's so many more results. But I just limited it to books, and here you have some excerpts just on heart disease, so parts of chapters, and so this is just a really easy way for you to find something from a book. Some of these may or may not be available. Most of them are going to be in here so you can read them. If it's not something, again, that's something that we can get for you. But most of them will be in here for you to either read or download. Okay. That was all I was going to show you for databases. So I can take a second if y'all have if there are any questions that I've missed, or if not, I can come back around to it later. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue then. So now I'm going to talk about search strategies. You kind of saw what I was doing when I was trying to create a search strategy, but we're going to talk about it a little more here. You want to develop a search strategy when you're doing research for a class or when you're looking for, information on a patient that you may be working with. It's going to give you better search results, so they're going to be a lot more focused, because you see, one, we looked heart disease and we got 24,000, and one was, 2,000. It's going to give you better evidence, so if you have an idea of how you're going to be searching, you'll get better evidence. It won't be as broad, and it's going to save you a lot of time. If you start with a search strategy, the idea is that you won't be looking through as many title and abstracts. You're going to look in databases. You'll be developing a search strategy for databases, but you can also develop it to look for any books and ebooks. First, you want to select a topic, and so I'm not sure if y'all have already gotten your topic, but if you have one rolling around in your head, you want to think about what that topic is, and then from then you will create a research question, and that's going to help you decide what your search strategy is. Then you want to start identifying keywords, and you'll put those keywords together with and, or not. And I will talk to you a little bit about that in a couple of slides. Here's an example of how to kind of go through that process. So if the topic, you're looking at hand washing and HAIs, and I think we kind of know that those, go together, but your question would be, what is the effectiveness of hand washing among healthcare workers on hospital-acquired infections? So some of the keywords you would pull out of here. So you want to make sure that you're pulling out hospital-acquired infection. You're also making sure that you have hand washing. You could also say reduced infection. You could use names for a specific type of practitioner. So you would have nurse, doctor, etc. Any type of person in a healthcare environment who would be washing their hands. When you're coming up with these keywords, it's going to be a little bit of trial and error. You may, have a ton off the bat that you want to use, but you may have to kind of think about it a little bit and go through the literature to help you come up with them. After you've kind of started to think about your keywords and you know what your topic is, then you're going to choose your databases. And that's why I showed you that list of over 100 that we have. Depending on your question, you may not want to look at CINAHL. You probably will, but you may not want to look at, one of the psychology databases, or you might want to look at something that's more focused on drugs. So we have different databases that cater to those different disciplines. You don't want to limit to one database for the reason that a lot of them will overlap, but they don't always. And you do want to use those limits that I was showing you at the side. So that's going to help you weed out a lot of things. So anything that's not in English or anything that doesn't have to do with your population. All of the databases will interpret searches slightly differently. So some of them will assume that any words typed next to each other are going to have and in between them. And that's why you want to think about using, quotations around it. So that will keep more than one word together as a phrase. So when we were using heart disease as the example, I had quotations around it so the database would know I was looking for heart disease. But if I just did it without quotations, it would look for heart and disease, not necessarily together, and that would give me a lot more results. That is the phrase that I just told you about, so that's just using a different example. And here are the Boolean operators. And this really helps me kind of explain it. Just visually, it's kind of hard to understand and or not. It's a little abstract. But if you see these Venn diagrams, if you're using and, so you're looking for information on puppies and kittens. If you use puppy and kitten, you're going to find articles that have both of those terms together. If you use puppy or kitten, you're going to find articles that have either one. So you could find articles that are just about puppies or just about kittens, or they could be together. If you use not, so puppy, not kitten, you are just pulling articles that are about puppies. And the danger with using not is, if you say not kittens, it might take out an article that was also about puppies that you could have been able to use. So I want to tell you about not, but I'm probably not the best to use it. So we do want to use probably and or when we're putting our words together. If you get stuck, it's going to be okay. You know, if you're getting way too many results, if you're getting 2 results and you know you're not getting enough, it doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It doesn't mean that, you know, your question is a bad question. It may just be that there, you know, is not enough information on your topic because you may have a really good idea and there's just been nothing written on it. So you may have to tweak your research topic, or it could just be something with your search strategy. So if you're having trouble, just, you know, either rethink things or ask me. I'm happy to help you. So when you are finding the resources that you want to include, if you find, you know, an article or a chapter that you want to include, it's important before you cite anything that you have read the entire article. Sometimes it's easy to kind of read a couple of paragraphs and say, okay, there's the sentence I want, and then, you know, decide that you're going to cite it. But if you keep going in the article, it could end up saying something a lot different than what you intended. So read the whole thing. You want to make sure that what you're pulling has the information of who all is involved in the study. You want to know what sex they are, what age they are, what diseases they're looking at. A good health study is going to have a lot of patients. So using a health study with, you know, 10 patients, while, you know, it might be a good case study, I don't, you know, maybe not something that you want to base your entire hypothesis for your paper on. You want to make sure that you have lots of patients so you can compare the results. And you want to look for information that doesn't just talk about the effectiveness, but you also want to know about any side effects that an intervention might cause. Any article that you find or any website or anything like that that says something is 100% successful or 100% failure, it's probably going to be more on the 100% success side, but you know that's not being honest because that's probably never going to happen. You do want to read opinions on both sides before you decide what you want to go with. When you're reading these opinions, it's good to look for some kind of consensus. Are most people saying that, you know, intervention A works better than intervention B? And information on a good therapy should be compared to either a new therapy or another therapy or, you know, a gold standard. There is always going to be new research, and that's what is somewhat exciting and somewhat scary about biomedical databases. You know, there are always being things added to the database because there's always new research coming out really quickly. But just because you don't find something, you know, it may just not exist. When you're looking at medical websites, you want to think about what the website says. So who is writing it? How can you contact them? Is what they're saying accurate? Is it current? What's the purpose of it? Who is the intended audience? Is it easy to read? Is it organized? And is the site actually maintained, or is it just kind of they make it and then they just leave it behind? You want to think about who's saying it, why when they said it, and how do they know these things? So, you know, anybody can create a website now and they can say anything they want to, but you want to know, do they actually have the credentials to say these things? When you're looking at the author, usually looking for an About Us page would be a good way to find the person because it doesn't always have a byline. Websites need to have a way to contact either the organization or the webmaster. If you can't find a way to contact the person, that kind of, I would use a little bit of caution. The web address can provide some information, but it's not always a sure thing. A government agency usually has gov in the address, an educational has .edu, any professional organizations have .org, and most commercial sites have .com. The currency of a medical website is extremely important. The information should be current, especially if it's telling you to use a certain drug or other therapy on a patient. Since health information changes so quickly, the date should be listed. You want to look for the quality, so who's on the editorial board, or is there a reviewer, somebody kind of overseeing the website who has the credentials to do so? Are the authors experts on the subject matter? Is the information peer-reviewed by other experts in the field? You want to make sure that it's organized and easy to read. If it's kind of cluttered and all over the place and there are a whole bunch of grammatical errors and spelling errors, that's probably not something you want to use. And if the information was originally published somewhere else, you want to make sure they're citing that information so you can go to the original source. You want to always make sure who is funding a website. So if it's supported by public funds or donations or commercial advertising, it's good to know where that money's coming from. Any advertisements need to be labeled, and the site needs to disclose where the money's coming from. So you need to know who's contributing to the funding or any materials on there. Red flags, you think some of these are obvious, but it's really easy to kind of, click through and think, okay, everything's all right. But, not everyone who is posting on a website is virtuous, and there are some nefarious purposes. So if the information's anonymous and someone is not willing to back up their claims, that's a red flag. If there's a conflict of interest, so someone is being paid by a certain company to say these things, obviously you can't completely trust what they're saying. If it's really one-sided or biased and they're saying one thing is 100% great or 100% terrible, that's something to question. If the information is really old, and I know you need to look within the last 5 years, so if you see something that was published 10 years ago and it's never been updated, go ahead and push it aside. If there's a claim of a miracle or a secret cure, and that kind of goes with that one-sided bias, they don't have any evidence to back up their claims. They're just kind of posting a bunch of information, but they're not linking into any sources. And like we discussed earlier, if there's a lot of spelling mistakes and poor grammar, those are just immediate red flags on a website. All right. I have kind of an example. This is an old one, but it's, I've tried to look for something better and I haven't quite found it yet. But what do you think about this website? And you can say it in the chat, or if you want to volunteer, if anyone has any thoughts. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone say anything. I could be wrong. Okay. I think you all are probably a little bit tired, I understand. What's wrong with this website? Okay.
Could y'all use your little emojis to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Oh yeah, great idea.
What do you think? Is this a good, reputable website?
Okay.
I see lots of thumbs down.
Yeah, okay. So good. Yeah, obviously this is a terrible website. Okay, so first of all, it's really ugly and it looks like it was probably made sometime in the early 90s. I don't know. It's really bad. So you see, it's hard to look at. It's really cluttered. There's a ton of ads and it's just, you kind of want to question, okay, so they're selling South Park on there and they're doing this, and it's a .org, but what is this organization? So what this is, they're telling you that water is horrible. So this is some organization that is saying, water is terrible and, it's going to kill everybody. And if you just kind of take it at its face value, you might start to think, oh my gosh, what is this? And of course, this is a really far-fetched example, but there are a lot of websites out there like this. So just be really cautious when you're looking at anything and, critically appraise it. And if you don't think it's, reputable, then you don't think it's reputable. Yeah. Oh no, water poisoning. Yeah. So just something to consider when you're looking at websites, because it's so easy to be, caught up in what you're reading. Here is my contact information. You can contact me a lot of ways through the website, but just in case, you want to write it down, here is the web address for my subject guide for nursing. I have hours by appointment, but if you need to meet with me, I'm happy to do that. And I also, do a lot of meetings through WebEx. My email address and my phone number are on there. And I'm going to stop sharing at this point so I can see. Okay, I saw some of these. Okay. I don't see any questions from y'all, but now that I'm finished, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If you were tired and I just gave you a lot of information, I understand that as well. So don't feel like you have to come up with any questions.
Do y'all feel like this will give you a better starting place to start looking for some references as you guys are starting to mull over what you want to be your paper topics? Are y'all feeling good? Yes, I see some thumbs up. Wonderful. Well,
Okay,
thank you
good.
so much, Miss Hinton, for coming. We greatly appreciate you. Oh, some celebration emoji. Now, they're not going to talk to you, but they'll give you some emojis. Look at
That's
this.
okay. I'm the same way. It's a lot easier to give an
I
emoji.
love it. They've had a really long 2 days. They've had two
Yeah.
tests in the last 24 hours, so they are very tired.
I understand.
So I've let them
completely
go.
understand.
I'm not sick. I'm just losing my voice. I'm going to go let them take a 2-minute break while I get switched over to my presentation. So guys, take a 2-minute potty break, get you some popcorn or snacks or whatever. Thank you so much, Miss Hinton, for coming. We appreciate you.
You're welcome. Good luck, and let me know if I can help.
I will see you around. Okay, guys,
Right.
take 2 minutes. I'll see you back. Enjoy.